Another fucking day, another fucking dollar. Adam Krug, head coach of the Adrian Bulldogs hockey team. Obviously the real O-Show's head coach back in the day. I know a little bit about him. I actually think he's a really good dude. So this is going to actually be a fun one. We're going to do it in the locker room, so we'll have a good aesthetics. But this is going to be a good conversation today. Stay tuned. Now we got to get to Adrian before we're late. Adrian campus, home of the Adrian Bulldogs, home of the Fighting Oshas. Beautiful hockey rink, got the football field here. Beautiful rec center. Excited, man. This is going to be a good podcast. Here we go, everybody. Welcome to the Real O Show podcast. Special guest today, Adam Krug, head coach of the Adrian Bulldogs hockey team, NCAA team, entering his 9th season. So they were the 2022 national champs, 2022 Edward Jeremiah Award winner, which is the National Coach of the Year, 4-time NCHA Coach of the Year, 7-time regular season champs, 4-time NCHA tournament champs. Also played 5 years of pro hockey. And then his career record as of today is 149, 40, and 11. And then 14 plus players have signed professional contracts, including one with us today, the Real O Show. Appreciate it, Adam, for joining us today.
Happy to be here. It's great to see what you guys are doing, man. This is cool. This is fun.
Yeah, this is fun. You got a laundry list to come in with. You know what I mean? You got some stuff. Got the ring.
We'll take it. It's a little humbling to hear, actually, because you just kind of go year by year, and if you win last year, you feel pretty happy about it. If you don't, you're not. You know? So to hear it all that stacked up the way it is, it's fun.
It's every year. You know, you slowly just got it. So that's my first question, I guess. So you guys did it all last year. Like, what separated that team from every other team you've had going? I mean, I know you've had some championship teams in the past you've been a part of, but like specifically at Adrian, like what made this team different than all the other teams?
Yeah, well, I think it was a culmination of everything we've gone through. Like, Osh, when you were here, like we went through a lot. Right? Like we went through a year of being the best team and having some culture issues within the program. Just little bits of BS that we didn't deal with last year. And were those guys, that were in the years that weren't great? Are they a pain in the butt or anything? No, like they're good guys, right? But me as a younger coach, like this is going into my 9th year, right? I've learned a lot. My first year I took over a team that had 13 seniors, and we went to the Frozen Four. And I was thinking as a rookie coach, like, man, I'm Scotty Bowman. But the reality of it is, I learned a lot that year, and we lost, and we lost in the national semifinal, and then we kind of had to rebuild. We had to go out and recruit, and we got guys like Corey Dunn, Trevor Boyd, Connor Armour, and that group kind of came through. Yeah. And I did a lot of learning with those guys. Like I just said, hey, we're gonna compile all this talent. These guys are damn good, and we're just gonna go win. That didn't happen. Right. I mean, we were good. We won a ton of games, won a couple championships, but we never got over the mountain of winning that national title. So, we learned a lot. I'd certainly say that all of those teams before, I mean, we've got 15 years of hockey history at Adrian. We don't win in 2022 without those other 14 teams before us. Because if you go back to 2007 and the hardships that we had there, not making the NCAA tournament, I think that really built us some thick skin. And ultimately, it gave us the swagger that our program is known to have. Like we have swagger, right? Absolutely. And then you got to find that that fine line between swagger and cockiness. And I think for a few years we dabbled along the lines of cockiness. For sure. And I think just we learned from those experiences. And last year, I think the guys really it all clicked. Yeah. It gelled. Like the right guys were here, the right pieces were here. We brought in a couple of Division I transfers that had good experience, but felt like they had a chip on their shoulder and they needed to prove something.
Even the freshmen you guys brought in last year, like Kudo, like the guys like that were they were super sneaky, like quality guys. I mean, that's something pretty cool to see.
Yeah, well, Matt Kudo, he was a captain of his team. He's a captain of his junior team, and Ryan Patosha was a nice piece to add. But he's just a kid that works his ass off for sure, right? Like he works so hard, and he's so quiet and so unassuming. Guess who scored a huge goal in the national championship game? Ryan Patosha, right? And Matt Kudo is going to be a kid that wears a letter on his sweater at some point in his career here.
One thing I want to ask about that I want to touch on. So you said when you came in, you kind of had some culture issues, right? Which is pretty common in most programs. So from your first season to entering your 9th, with culture, what is the one thing you look for in a player, in a team, that you're like, okay, this team's got it, this player has it? What's your one thing you're kind of looking at now where when you see it, you're like, okay, he would fit in here?
Yeah, I think it's multiple things. I mean, number one, like, would you be okay with this kid marrying your daughter? Like, I got a daughter now. She's 6 years old. Like, I got to keep an eye out for the guys, right? And in the hockey world, like, we've seen all sorts of guys, right?
Hockey players,
hockey
players are all over the place.
Yeah. So, like, one, I want to make sure they're a really good person. And I've done a lot more background checking with players, with their previous coaches or teammates to find out about guys. One question that we ask, basically in the first or second conversation we have with a player, is how important is pro hockey to you? Because if pro hockey is not important to you, like, I don't know if we can hold you to the standard that we have in our locker room, right? And it's I know that a lot of people say, it's just Division III sports. Well, guess what? There's no Division II hockey. So our guys are like right there, and they want to play pro.
I mean, I look at Adrian as like, when people talk about D3, like, they don't understand. Like, you talk to someone who doesn't play a hockey per se, or they play basketball or football, and you say D3 to them, they're thinking you're like Division III, you're trash. But really, it's like, this program's a top 60 team in the nation. Doesn't matter D1, D3. Like, this team beats Division I teams.
Yeah, if there's 60 Division I programs in the country, and we won last year, like, we're probably the 61st worst case.
But you are
worst case. But
you're top 50.
We know there are Division I programs that we would take and play tight games with.
For sure.
We did that, 2 years ago with you. Like, we played 2 with Bowling Green.
And I thought the team last year specifically would have been, because they were better than the team when we were playing Bowling Green and Lake Superior State. Like, that team this last year would have put a spank on a few of those teams.
Yeah, we were good. And it was we'll never know those answers because we didn't get to play any of those Division I teams. But hey, we start this year at Bowling Green. We were playing them in exhibition.
I was gonna say my next question is for you. How do you, after winning a national championship, because at the end of the day we still got guys in this locker room, they're still growing up a little bit. Like, how do you keep that winning mentality and, again, stay on the swagger and not cocky esque of it?
Yeah.
How what do you foresee as like being a challenge?
Well, we got to have a week one, day one, hour one mentality.
For sure.
Every day you come to the rink, you have to be as excited as if it was the first day of the season, right? And you've seen it in your time here.
Yeah.
It gets into January, February, and guys are exhausted. They're tired. So as a coach, you have to try to keep the guys energized and excited and happy to come to the rink. Where sometimes, like, we're gonna have to go out and have fun at practice. Like, some days we're gonna have to cancel practice and go do something else. And we've done things like those, But I think the group, based on the character in the room, this group is so hungry still. Sam Ruffin, he graduated with his undergrad.
Yeah, he's coming back.
He could have signed an East Coast League contract, no problem. Yeah. And he wanted to come back because you know what he wants to do now? He wants to two-peat because we've never had a team do it.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I get it, and to be honest with you, two-peating, it might lead to something more than the coast in the end. So, and I know that's his goal anyway. Yeah. He obviously, you always want to go to the next level. So
now Sam's an American Hockey League player.
Sure.
I think we have a few guys with that type of talent in this room, and
I agree.
His attention to detail, his habits on a daily basis will hopefully be what gets him there.
Yeah,
and for people that don't know, I'm at the basic level hockey. The American Hockey League is the AHL. That's the league under the NHL, correct?
Yes.
It's like AAA baseball.
Yeah, AAA baseball. Perfect. So, question: what made you want to get into coaching? Because obviously, you were the second coach ever hired at Adrian. And what season was that for Adrian when you took over?
Yeah, so it was Adrian's 8th year. So Ron Fogarty before me coached 7.
Okay.
I was 8.
So what made you, because I know you played hockey at Wayne State and then you came over to Adrian in their first season. Were you here the first season?
Yeah.
And then I know you coached in, I think, like the
USHL.
Yeah.
And then so what made you there?
Yeah. So what made you want to get into coaching specifically?
Probably my dad. My dad coached me all the way up. Like, he was very involved in sports, and my dad was a really good baseball player. Didn't see things through as he got a little older for a lot of different reasons, but ultimately he ended up being a junior hockey coach. Coached my uncle, who was a heck of a player. Coached guys like Mike Madonna and the Hatcher brothers, and so, like, my dad had been around the game, and so he coached us growing up, and all the time at our house it was just hockey, right? And sometimes to a fault it was hockey, right? And there was days where it's like, all right, Dad,
we can relate to that.
Yeah, I get it. So, it was very much in the blood, I guess you'd say. And I knew that I wanted to coach when I was done. I didn't know if I'd be coaching at 24 or 34 or whatever, and happened to be when I was 29 or 30 years old when I started in Indiana. When I finally settled down and decided to hang up the skates and I tricked my wife into going to Indianapolis and coaching for $25,000 that first year. But it's been super worth it.
It's an investment, It's definitely an investment.
I'm curious because I know you played pro hockey in like Romania or Hungary.
Yeah,
Romania. How was that?
It was
that
different.
experience?
It was different. So I played bits and pieces of 2 years in North America here. And then ended up going over to Europe to the Netherlands, which was an awesome experience. That league back then was really cool. You'd have 10 imports in the league. Like on my team alone, there's me, there's a guy from Norwich University, a guy from Boston University, a guy from Colorado College, some major junior guys. Like we had a really, really good team. And the league was fun because you had 10 imports. So most of those guys are North American.
Right.
And so like
nice to be with
you go play.
guys.
Yeah. And it's a very Americanized
for sure.
country as it is.
Yeah.
Everybody spoke English. It was great.
Right.
Well, the next year, I come back. I signed a contract with the Fort Wayne Comets. Coach knows about the Comets. I'm there. I get cut basically like the last day, go sign in the Southern Pro League.
Last day of what, like tryouts?
Training camp.
Okay.
Yeah, go down to the Southern Pro League, have like a point a game or whatever for the first little bit of the season. And one of my Swedish buddies from my team in the Netherlands calls and says, "Hey, Kruger, we got a guy or a spot. We need a goal scorer. We need a centerman." Over at my team in Romania. I'm like, Romania, where's that? And then he's like, oh, we're in Bucharest. It's the capital of Romania. He's like, pretty cool spot. And I'm like, man, let me look into this league. So I look into the league, and there's no Americans. I'm the only American, and back then there's a little bit of unrest. Like I don't know how people are going to treat an American over there. Very Eastern, Eastern.
Romania is kind of you got to be careful there. Like you got to kind of know people.
Yeah, I mean it was interesting. So I lived right downtown Bucharest. It was really interesting. Walking to the rink every day, you'd see street dogs, you'd see gypsies, you'd see bread lines. I mean, they talk about communism being dead. I mean, they might have overthrown communism there, but it was
still there. It's scary.
Well, the old style life for the older people.
Yeah. It's very traditional there.
Yeah,
it is it's very traditional, very Catholic, Christian. Yeah, I know, I get it.
Yeah, but it was a great experience.
No,
it certainly made me really appreciate.
Being here. Everything that I've heard,
everything
I've heard about people playing overseas. So overseas is good for a year, 2 years, whatever. But they're like, the way you get treated in America, like it's just like they like it. They just like it better.
Yeah,
it's just a better situation for those guys.
I could have played a long time in Nijmegen in Holland, but that team actually folded. And we had a darn good team, but just some other issues there. But it was an awesome town for sure, right? And that was a great place to live.
Yeah. Well. Might be a tough question, but I told Joshua I'm going to ask it. So, obviously, Tori, your brother's in the NHL. Who's he currently with right now?
St. Louis.
Was he with the Bruins?
He was with the Bruins.
He was with the Bruins. Now he's with St. Louis. So, got to ask, are you jealous of Tori at all?
No. I mean, there's days that I'm like, man, that'd be pretty cool if it was me. But I'm probably his biggest fan, outside of maybe my mom and dad. But, like it's pretty awesome. Like there's a Blues game on, and like my wife hates me because I'm gonna watch the game. It doesn't matter what else we get going on, and obviously having three younger kids, it gets a little hectic around the house, and the kids don't want to go to bed. But we watch pretty much every game when we can, and it's fun to watch. I've learned a lot from watching him. I've learned a lot from having conversations with him about what they're doing. I mean, just even like taking simple things like buzzwords that they use in the locker room. Every year training camp, I'm like, hey, what's the new hot topic they're talking about? And can I implement it here? And there's been years where I've grabbed a piece or two from him. There's been other years where it maybe didn't pertain to what our group was doing.
Do you think he makes you a better coach being in the NHL?
Yeah. But because I just watch a lot more hockey. Like, I'd still watch a ton of hockey as a coach anyway. But being able and being able to watch that game every night. When it was the Bruins, I mean, I learned a lot about the way the Boston Bruins played. I mean, they played a hard 200-foot game. They were very good offensively, but defensively they were great. And I was able to start instilling some of that stuff. Probably year 3 and year 4 at Adrian to become a better defensive team because for years we just run and gun every year. I mean, we just said, okay, you guys want to score 5, we'll score 6, and that was how the table was set back in 2007. Here, we just said, hey, let's go score goals, make it fun for our fans, and make it fun for the players. But at some point, you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, why aren't we winning championships? And then you look at the scores of these games, and you're like, all right, maybe we got to be able to win a 1-0 or a 2-1 game, and we've been able to do that.
That's been the biggest.
I feel like that's the same across the board in a lot of sports. Where I don't know how much basketball you watch, but obviously the Celtics and the Warriors this past year were the 1 and 2 best defensive teams in the championship. So obviously you got to be able to win the close games. But from year one to now, how much have you grown up as a coach, as a person, because of coaching the players? Because I know coaching kids, especially the college days, like obviously I played college sports, like I get it. How hard was it when you started to now to like manage the personalities, to know what works and what doesn't work, and how you have to treat certain kids? Because each player's, you got to treat them different. Like you can't be across the board because everybody comes from different homes, different environments. So what have you learned as far as that?
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, me is now going into my 9th year. I'm much more older.
Yeah.
You know, like I think a lot of what I did 5, 6, 7 years ago, like I really related to the players well when I was younger. And I think the guys saw me as the younger, cool coach. And then that kind of wore off at some point. And then it was like, oh, Kruger again. Like he's this guy he loves to talk and this and that. You know, and I had to kind of adjust a little bit. You know, but I think understanding your personnel is absolutely the utmost importance. I cannot treat two guys the same way.
No.
You know, you just can't. I mean, whether it's a star player and your last guy on the bench, like there has to be accountability there. Like your star player can't just walk all over you and do whatever the heck he wants. Meanwhile, you know, you're yelling at the guy that doesn't play about, you know, tying the shoes the wrong way. You can't do stuff like that.
For sure.
But, you know, you have to be able to find that balance. And that's where you have to really, I think, do some deep dives with guys. Like every year now in the preseason, we take time and spend you know, an hour or more with each guy. I mean, before it was like exit meetings were 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah. Like we didn't go into a lot of detail, but as Ocean was like, he came in a couple of times and we talked for hours.
I mean, that's definitely different. Like that's what I would say about you is you definitely take the time to actually try to get to know your players way more than any other coach that I've had that would want to do it. Like you would do pre-meeting. I mean, like we're doing preseason meetings before you come in. You're doing a meeting, which may last, you know, depending on the guy. Obviously, a freshman might be a little shorter than, say, a senior. Yeah. But you're still getting to know a guy. You're still asking questions. You're still trying to figure out. Not to mention you're seeing how guys act. You're asking the little guys how guys are fitting in. So it's easier to kind of tell a little bit. And at the end of the year, you're kind of assessing them again.
Yep.
So it's like that in itself, you know, you're already going to be on more of a level. But that allows respect, I feel like, between the players and coaches where you can trust guys. You know what guys you can trust, what guys you kind of can, you know, hold the leash a little tighter on. But I guess I have a question. So it is your 9th year. What is there more for you than Adrian? Like obviously, like you've now won a national championship. Like I you know maybe you've probably gotten some buzz. I'm sure your phone's been getting called a little bit. Like are you ever planning on leaving Adrian? Like what is the top of the mountain for you after winning the national championship? Like is it like, are you trying to go like coach pro? Are you trying to do college? Are you trying to make it all the way to the show? Like what's the goal?
Yeah, you know what? I think that goal changes like on a pretty regular basis. I mean, right now the goal is to win it again next year.
For sure.
You know, I took some calls this summer, made a call or two this summer to just see what was going on.
Oh yeah.
You know, went through the process with a place or two. Haven't really told many people that, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm ambitious. Right. You know, if that ambition is to, you know, just see what's out there and keep coming back to Adrian and winning and grinding, like that's great. But I also know that the players coming in want that stability. They want to know that the coach that recruited them is going to be here, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, as we go forward, you know, I've got to really tailor that answer appropriately.
For sure.
Like, and I would never lie to the guys. You know, I do feel like I have accomplished what I set out as a personal goal to accomplish, and that was help bring the school its first ever national championship. Yeah, and we've done that.
Absolutely.
So if I were to leave, whether it was, you know, tomorrow or, you know, 10 years from now, I'd feel really good with what we've done here. But, you know, pro hockey maybe is a thing. You know, it'd have to take like an organization to call me and say, hey, like this would be our plan for you if they see me in that type of light. You know, but I love college. Like, I love college. I love being around you guys for 4 years. I love having those alumni relations.
Absolutely.
I love seeing you guys turn into men. I mean, we get you guys at 19, 20 years old, and you're kids. And then when you leave here, like you're men. You know, and that's what I pride myself on, helping you guys be part of the process of developing you guys into husbands and dads. And like I'm not the one doing the work. You guys do the work. But, you know, I hope that our guidance, whether some days we have great days or some days we have tough days, I hope that helps you form into the person that you become.
Absolutely. So I guess this may be poking a little too much, but is there a specific spot, like if you were like, man, like that, like I could see myself doing that. Like maybe it's a hidden goal. Like you're going, like when you were a kid, you're like, man, I wanted to be a coach at Michigan, or I wanted to be a coach at BU. Like, is that like, is there a specific spot you were like, man, like if I could pick it, like I'd really dig my roots in there. Like, is there? I think
that's a, you could go a lot of different ways in that
for sure.
But
I just didn't know if there was like one specific you're like.
Well, I'm from Livonia, right? So
I knew
like you're right down the road from Ann Arbor. You're right down the road from East Lansing.
Exactly. That's why I figured you'd be like a Michigan. Like if one of those two schools were like
went to state, right?
Torrey went to state, so there's some family pride there.
And there's excellent. There's just so much history like at both places that it's like, man, and Michigan just got a new coach as well. So no, it's very interesting.
It is, like I don't think that you really just take a job necessarily because of the place.
No.
Like, yes, if Michigan or Michigan State or a program close to your heart, calls, you take that call.
For sure.
But, I think you also don't go out and just look for every job that's open.
Oh, no.
But
it's gotta fit
if there's a job that's open and it's a good program and a place that you could see yourself having success and move your family to, and that'd be a good situation.
Because this is, for me, like this is the spot. Like, I mean, when you talk about Adrian, like you're the man at Adrian, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
sure,
you're the man. So it's like at Adrian, like you got like you have it. So and it's like not even just at Adrian, but like in D3, like in general, like every school that comes here, like they know Adrian. All the, you know what I mean? So it's like you've built this, like, and obviously shout out to Ron Fogarty because he was a big part of that as well. But it's like you guys have built this like amazing program, so it's like it's almost like your fourth baby, essentially. Like it's like another one of your babies that you have. It's probably hard to leave as well. Like, it's got to be a perfect situation for you to walk into that you'd want to do it. Because it's like I said,
for sure. And my wife Lindsay, like she's an alum. She plays soccer.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Right? Like we have a ton of pride here.
Yeah.
2 of our 3 kids were born here.
Exactly.
We love it here.
That's what I'm saying.
We talk on a regular basis about like we don't have to go anywhere.
No,
and that's the glorious part of this job is that if somebody doesn't call and like knock our socks off with an offer or something, then we don't have to go anywhere.
It's like it's just keep winning.
Yeah, just keep winning. And like to your point, like Adrian College to me is like the Michigan or the North Dakota of Division III.
100%.
Like people want to be here. Like the calls that I got after we won the national title this year, it was pretty overwhelming. Like it was fun. Good players. Division I transfers that we're telling, hey, we just don't have room, or you're not the right fit.
Yeah, and that's a cool. That's a good place to be able to be like, I want the perfect fit, and I think that's what you built. So that's pretty cool to see it. So I appreciate it.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. I don't know if you have a story, but what is the best Joshua story you got? Could be before he came, what you heard possibly, or while he was here. Do you have a good story of Joshua?
Well, I've got a build up for maybe the ultimate ending for Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, and his freshman sophomore year, he was in and out of the lineup, and a lot of times he was out of the lineup more than he was in.
Yeah.
And we had some run-ins. Like we had some, I wouldn't say misunderstandings. I just think that Josh was very confident in himself, and he should be. And as a coaching staff, like we didn't see Josh in that spot yet to be a big-time go-to player. And at one point, we had some real good heart-to-hearts, and I think it was after a pregame meal over in the Bulldog room across campus here, and we ended up coming back over to the rink, or maybe we had it out right there, and we just said, Josh, like, you just got to be better. Like, there's another level that you can get to that, like, that's what we need, right? And the guys love you, and I get that, and you're going to go to war for these guys, and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and really appreciate that. But right now, like, it's not on the cards, and he dug his heels in. Like, and after a sophomore year of not playing a ton, like, you could easily transfer, quit, say, screw this coach, he's an asshole, and just go on your own page and do your own thing. And Josh didn't. Like, he came back his junior year, and I think his junior year, he was in and out for 6 games. So he played 3, and he was out 3, and we had an injury, and we needed a guy to go play on our top pair. And I said, like, you're going in tomorrow? And he never gave a spot up. But he could have easily went out there, and said, you know what, like, I'm not going to keep working hard for this coach that doesn't see it in me. Like, he proved me wrong in a sense. I mean, we knew there was the O show that we got, right? Sure. But it took time, and that's what so many of our younger players don't realize. Like, they haven't arrived. Like, you've never arrived. Like, Osh arrived when we won the Harris Cup his senior year. Sorry, your senior year we lost, right?
Lost. Junior year.
Your junior year, we won the Harris Cup, but the next year, like, Osh was a captain on this team, and like he was like the ultimate, team guy and the ultimate captain that you needed, and a guy that we could lean on. It's the same thing, like me as a coach. Like, I've never arrived. Like you talked a few minutes ago about being, a young coach, and now 9 years later, like, what has changed? I mean, I just keep building every year, and I'm not satisfied with where we are. Like, and there's going to be bumps this year that I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate. And Josh did that during his 4 years here at Adrian, and I'm forever grateful that he was here, and now he's an alum, a fellow alum, and a friend, and I was absolutely blown away that he called and asked for me to go on the podcast with you guys. That means a lot to me.
No, of course. No, we appreciate having you on. We'll wrap it up. As
it.
always, leave us a like, leave us a review. You got to just scroll down. If you don't know, you got to just scroll down to leave the review. That's because we're trying to explain it to Mom.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
you got to scroll down, leave a review, share it with somebody who may like it. But appreciate having Adam Krug on, head coach of Adrian Bulldogs. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate
Talk
it, guys.
soon.
Yeah, national champions.
Let's go.
Hey, another good one. Another rep. It's a good podcast. Krug's a great dude. This is the first time I've ever talked to him in person, but really good dude. Happy that we got to do it. Happy for Adrian Bulldogs in general. Sky's the limit. Krug's going to go far as he wants. But big fan of Adam Krug. Support the Adrian Bulldogs, 2022 national champs, about to be the 2023 national champs.
I never had to tell my dogs that we on road for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on